Blog Talk Radio.
Following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think you may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Hollywood, Florida, with your host and hostess, Mark Angelo and Jessica Lynn Cummings. Show for trans folks by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard. Well, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Transition Radio. We're so glad you're able to join us this evening. Tonight we have a special guest for you, Georgia TG. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, the Breast Form Store. They've been established since 1993. They are the Internet's most trusted and discreet shopping center for all your transgender and cross-dressing needs. And you can also have your items shipped directly to you in discreet packaging.
Please check them out and browse their amazing website. And please stay tuned to our future shows, as we will soon start running random contests with awesome prize giveaways, courtesy of thebreastformstore.com. Go to our website today and click on their banner to check them out.
Born with psychic connection to other worlds, wondering at age 3 why others did not see the apparitions or visions, Georgia considered herself as a lover to both women and men. She had this alter ego that identified as feminine as well. Secretly cross-dressing since age 4, loved playing with the dolls and the other girls as well as the tiny trucks. My girl side was something separate and hidden, never letting even my gay lover see me dressed as I thought myself, not pretty or feminine. After the end of my third failed marriage, I decided to investigate fully what was this feminine cult.
I was 53 years old, 60 now. Before I ventured out into the world dressed as Georgia, I found the two could coexist, and there were those who looked upon me, not with scorn, but as a role model. Up to this point, I had never heard the words transgender or Two-Spirit. She considers herself a spiritual enlightenment teacher and has done this for more than 30 years. Guide and tantric ecstatic union coach, she closed. Our platform is that all transgender persons contain a two-spirit nature, having cognition of other both genders and polarities within them, even if one desires to fully transition to the opposite of their birth gender.
Monks, sages, and adepts study for years to find a balance of the masculine and feminine energies we are born with. In Native and Eastern cultures, the two-spirit transgender ones were reversed as having balanced the masculine and feminine energies, and were counted among the ranks of the shaman. When we have this awareness and balance, we can become awakeners to the rest of the world, allowing healing and reclaiming wholeness.
Fixated on one's gender persona can be a very strong pull for many due to cultural pressures to fit in. This, more often than not, continues difficulties, but from the other end of the same stick, peace and harmony waits if we can move beyond the need to fragment our life. From my experience, I know that balance allows for even greater enjoyment of the world. Now we want to give a warm welcome to our show, Ms. Georgia TG. Hello, Georgia.
Hola from Costa Rica. How are you today?
Well, hello, Costa Rica. So how's it going?
Yeah, yes, good. Hello, Jessica. Hello, Mark.
Yes, this is
if
Mark.
I could also say a big hello to, we've got quite a following, I think, this evening, listening all over Europe and getting close into Asia this time of night, and people in England, the U.S., and Canada. A lot came onto my Facebook site, said they were going to be listening tonight. So hello to everybody way out there on the World Wide Web.
So we're very glad you've joined us tonight, and we've lined up a few questions so we could have a good conversation and let the listeners enjoy this beautiful interview, and I really look forward to it because I feel your spirit, and I feel that you are one amazing soul.
Oh,
Tell us about your different sides, the two-spirit nature you embrace.
Let me just try and see if I can switch phones here. I'm having a little difficulty hearing. Hang on a second.
Yeah, we're having hearing. Yeah.
Can you hear us better now? Yes, a little
moment.
bit better.
How's that?
Yes.
It's
much
good?
better.
Yeah, you were just a little bit light on there. That's the thing about it. Until a few years back, I had never even heard the words transgender or two-spirit, but as you described, all through my life, I had this particular draw that said that there's got to be more to this than just wanting to get all dressed up and go out somewhere. So through my normal spiritual studies, it started to come up and almost hit a brick wall that said that these things to do with these energies are not just to do with a persona that I'm going to either show up as looking like a guy or looking like a girl, but that they know in the Eastern cultures that a person has to be able to balance these energies properly in order to move on through into their awakening of their consciousnesses. And I know that you speak also, Mark, of the awakening, you call it. Is that?
Yes, and when I was younger, I would always go back and forth, feeling at moments very masculine and then feeling at moments very feminine. And I would always wonder, is there something wrong with me, not understanding that this is our true nature, balancing both our feminine and masculine energy. It's part of the awakening. It's part of us being humans, or actually being spirits, having a human experience and growing.
Yes.
And
so we just keep stomping on each other here on the vocal. But yes, that's the thing that I began to discover is that through interactions with my partner, who is actually my twin flame split apart, that instead of this being a burden and a curse to be transgendered or two-spirit, it is actually an enormous blessing. And I find myself being very proud to be actually transgender and to be able to announce to the world at this particular point in time that it is not necessary to fit into this particular binary world that everyone seems to think is the only way, whereas there is this very large middle ground of persons that can pick from any number of categories and still be under the transgender envelope, or umbrella, I should say.
Definitely, and we feel the same way. I feel totally honored to be transgender, and I would do it all over again if I had to. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing.
As would I. Georgia, you are a spiritual teacher. What are your lesson plans and message for those who decide to be your students?
Well, we came down here to Costa Rica about 4 years ago and opened our little center about 3 years ago, but we've been mostly under construction through this and had some students come, but now we're just about finished the greater portion of our community building and so on, so that people can start to come in larger numbers. And basically what we profess is that other teachers in religions and such try to teach that it's very difficult in order to reach any enlightened states or to expand our awareness or our consciousness. But what we profess is that we already know more than we need to know, and it's just basically being able to quiet ourselves well enough to be able to listen, so that we can then have access to this expanded awareness and expanded consciousness. And what I have done is I've been teaching people how to reach enlightened states for over 30 years, and I've been continuing to refine this over and over again, so that I've taken things that I've learned through my traditional methods, through yogic or Taoist or Buddhist traditions, and taken the things that I've learned about the body chemistry, about the electrical systems, and refined it down to such a point that it's very, very easy to transmit, so that people can learn it very, very quickly and easily, and then get on to their own personal contemplation, which is the actual doorway that they will cross through. And as you know, you can lead somebody up to the door, but it's up to them to drop all their shit, and then they got to go through the door themselves. So that's pretty well it.
Well, it's true. It's like that old saying, you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make it.
I was just thinking the same thing.
See, like that thing a lot.
Georgia,
so what was your childhood like?
Say that again, sorry.
What was your childhood like?
Oh, well, let's say that it was a good suburban life that I had growing up, but I had these three separate sort of personas that could work in and through me, and I was fortunate enough to be incarnated this time with a lot of tools that I have found valuable in this state. So very early on, I can remember back as far as 3 years old, being able to view apparitions and have communications and visions with spirit and so on. And to me, this was normal. But looking around, other people didn't seem to get it. So you kind of shut up about it and don't talk until you get a little bit older and have some understanding of that. But in order to be able to have the idea of how everything works, either on this side of the veil or that side of the veil, I came in with the tools of communications to be able to see all of those things, as well as I can remember back as early as 4, cross-dressing in not knowing that it's cross-dressing, just knowing that other people don't want to see you looking like this, but you're wearing clothing that maybe look and we'll say feel what I thought the girl would feel like, and that carried on through my life, except for my 3 marriages, which kind of unraveled one at a time, where I was just being the man, playing the man, doing all the things that guys do, and fast cars, fast motorcycles, everything, constructing my own houses, owned a transport company, everything else to prove I was this manly person. But then at the end of each marriage, I'd go back to being bisexual again, and it wasn't until I think you did read it in the bio at the beginning. I was 53 before I got down to the point to say, look, this draw of something inside me, of this feminine, I got to find out what this is, and I'm not going to pick up another relationship or do anything else until I figure that out. And so then I started to be able to learn how to do the makeup properly, and how to have some fashion sense. And at that point, then I found that, there's a really attractive person here, and I was then able to go out and go from there. But with people like the drag queens in the clubs that were my greatest allies, helping me to be able to gain understanding about how what is this thing that's in me, and how do I express that. So that's a very short version, I suppose, of my earlier life.
Well, definitely. Who are your heroes, and what drives you?
Well, like I was saying, is that I was born in the 50s, and in the 50s, anything queer was you either beat it up or you killed it, and so you learn to be able to keep your mouth shut. So I had people that were like Harvey Milk, and people that like Eleanor Roosevelt that said things and spoke to me about that. But also the words of Gandhi were essential. But who I actually learned from was I learned from David Bowie that it was okay to be this different, to wear makeup on the street, to do these things, whether you're looking more guy-like or girl-like. And from Elton John. And I come from Toronto, so we're a bit of a gay mecca in Toronto, and a little more relaxed than a lot of places. So Bowie and Elton, they spent a lot of time in our towns. And we had performer Craig Russell, I don't know if you remember him, from years ago, that was from Toronto, and also performed in and around, so I could see these sorts of people that were crossing these boundaries. And there was an R&B singer back in the early 60s, Jackie Shane, that had a number of popular hits. But by the time I got to meet her, she was around Toronto as well, I was 14, and she had already transitioned into trans woman. So, in the earlier days, you'd see him/her perform and wore makeup, and the voice you couldn't tell. Is this a man? Is this a woman? The clothes can't tell. Is this a man? Is this a woman? So I was able to learn from them, and also, as I said, from all the drag queens that were always so nice to me about helping me put myself together, because I looked like a nightmare at first. So
I think we all start out looking kind of like nightmarish at first. I mean, I know exactly what you were saying about, like, with the David Bowie thing. That was more like, see, right now, you and I are from two generations. Excuse me. My generation was the 80s era, which was the hair and glam bands like Poison, Motley Crue, all these guys that were really effeminate looking. And
yes.
they lived as guys, but they didn't have the desire to obviously transition like we do. But, I mean, it's like, if you think back, you look at it and you say, okay, well, this, that was something, that should have been my inspirational point to just say, forget everything and just start transition. You know, it was the perfect era for it.
But I don't know if it's so much about transitioning. I think it's about expressing both your sides, and that's why these creative individuals, David Bowie, Kiss, and all these other 80s bands that were showing both their male side and feminine side. I think we've been boxed in society to think you have to pick one or the other.
Well, that's exactly what it is. We're kind of pushed into a corner, and they tell us, you know, hey, you've got to pick and choose what you want to be. So, you know, I'm two-spirited. I am balanced in both my energies, but I choose and feel that I present myself better as a female to the world. And, you know, with that little sense of masculine side, so I'm not a little Barbie doll, effeminate girl, but I'm also not a masculine butchy girl either. So I'm like right in between, well balanced.
Costa Rica seems like paradise. What led you here, and how is this place different from the U.S.?
Well, the excuse me. Yeah, Costa Rica is this marvelous. We can call it paradise, although there is no such total thing in the world. But because we can grow food here 12 months of the year, and I've got 30 orange trees growing around my house, and you know all sorts of things like that. But what really drew me to Costa Rica as a permanent place was the fact that this is the first country in the world to constitutionally ban their army. And they took all the money and put it into education, into health care, into better roads, all of these types of things. They've also got a ban on hunting and also trying to protect their rainforest. So the rules and regulations for vehicles on the road are even more strict than in the U.S. and Canada, in order that their people can be safe. So what they did was that they elevated their people, even though they make very little money. They're almost all middle class because they have the rights and the services. Our water bill here for our entire complex is only $8 a month. So
wow.
they've leveled the playing field so that even if you don't make very much money, you can still live in a very good lifestyle, which allows for the families to stay together. So they have a lot of family values here. And in the neighborhood that we are, we don't have break-ins or anything that's like that, whereas my friends that went and fought in Panama or Nicaragua or any of the other Central American places, they carried guns. And, you know, it's just not necessary here. Where in the people are part of the biggest thing for me is that they look you right in the eye when they speak to you. They don't stare at the ground, and they greet you with warm smiles. And if you don't speak a lot of Spanish, they are very forgiving and helpful about it. Here they have an expression called pura vida, which means live the good life. And they say that all the time.
You actually sent us one of that, your MP3, which we're going to play at the end of this show.
Well, I got a question for you, Georgia.
Yeah, sure.
You have a special someone in your life. Tell us about her and how you two met.
Well, that's a huge story, but I'll try and do it very succinctly. As I mentioned, she's actually my twin flame, which is beyond what people call soulmates. Soulmates are somebody that you may have had interactions with in past lives, but your twin flame is actually somebody that you eons ago were joined, and that you went out your separate ways to be able to gain all these different experiences to come back together again sometime. So any twin flames that come back together again, it's really difficult to be able to get yourselves in order. But if you can do it, then you can expand your view and awareness and consciousness beyond anything else if you're able to link up with your true split apart. So what happened is that after my last divorce some 7 years ago, I said, no more mistakes. I know she's out there. I spent 5 years almost alone, even though I'm a musician and, playing at clubs and everywhere. I was almost completely alone because I knew she was out there. And then I actually found her through the Internet. We had a couple of messages between each other, met for a cup of tea for a couple of hours, and we went to Costa Rica and started set up our life here. So we knew immediately, as soon as we saw each other, immediately that you're this one I've been looking for, and she was looking for me as well. At the same time, we could feel each other out there for years and years. So, and then we came down to.
We have a call on the line. We're going to take a call and see if somebody maybe has a question for you.
All right.
Well, you're on the air. This is Mark and Jessica. State your name, where you're calling from, and do you have a question for our guest? Hello?
Caller?
Hello?
Hello? Okay. Maybe they're shy. We'll put them on hold, and we'll try to get them back before the end of the show.
Okay. If I could just say about my partner. Both of us have been lecturers and teachers of things to do on the spiritual path for more than 30 years, and we actually live in the same neighborhoods. We had the same friends. It turned out we went to the same concerts sometimes, and we were not able to meet until we were ready with all of our tools to be able to meet each other. But for 30 years, we shared the same friends, and I even knew about her and her teachings and sent people to her, but we never met. So she's an author, and she teaches about natural health sciences, and has several books to her credit as well. So we both teach down here at our little learning center in Costa Rica.
We got 2 minutes and 25 seconds left of the show. We got a couple more questions. What message do you have for trans brothers and sisters?
Well, I think a lot of what we have been saying already is the fact that society has imposed these pressures on us and have indoctrinated us into this binary system that says that you have to choose this or that, or we're not letting you in the club, and what we're saying here is that a person should begin as soon as possible to be able to live their authentic life and do everything that they do in very small moves, that they move towards being in their true selves instead of just doing everything in a back room all the time. A lot of people, they have families and things, and they're worried that their families are going to disown them, or they're in relationships and they're not sure how that's going to do. But what I'm professing to a lot of people that come to me, because we have our Two-Spirit Transgender Facebook page that my partner writes inspirational messages for every day, is that they can now, instead of coming up to their wife to try and be able to explain, I have this feminine side in me, and it's this and this, and I don't want to lose the relationship, but I want to be able to still express myself. Well, by learning more about our two-spirit nature, a person doesn't have to be too obtuse with what they do, but they can begin to move into it a little bit more and find that balance that's in there. So you're running out of time, I realize. So
yeah, we'll got 10 seconds. So tell the listeners, we got 10 seconds. Tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you.
Well, the best way is through our website. That's www.valleyofdreamscr.com.
Okay, no problem. So if you send that to us, what we'll do is we'll attach that to the link to the show, to tonight's show for you, so that people can get a hold of you.
Wonderful. That's very good.
Okay, and we were glad to have you on the show, Georgia.
Well, I hope we are able to answer something.
I know, 30 minutes is not long enough. It goes so fast.
No, we could go on for hours and hours, I know. So your experience has been thus far, and mine, we could just go on for days.
I know, exactly. Tell me about it. The show right now, we're off live air now, so we're just in the recording, so it's going to go over just a little bit, but then it might cut you off. But we're going to go ahead and play your song, and once we put everything up, you'll be able to listen to it, and we'll send you the link to the show.
Yeah,
thank you so much for joining us, George.
Thank you so much, George. You have a wonderful evening, honey.
We'll definitely have to do this again.
Yeah, well, there's an awful lot of topics we can certainly get into.
I know. Pretty much in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
so now we're going to
It's like 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see you on the web.
Okay, take care.
Okay, have a great night.
Take care.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. Thank you, Georgia T.G., for giving us such a wonderful interview. We're going to end the show with one of Georgia's song. It's called Hola Pura Vida. You guys have a great night. We love you, but remember to always love yourselves, too. Good night.
Good night.